My first encounter with Dean, it wasn't even in the flesh, but my first encounter with him was that I'm endorsed by Mark Bass in Italy, and they make guitar amps as well, DV Mark, and they hooked me up with some amplifiers, so I went to pick them up in upstate New York, and the amp that I was given had a tag on it that said Dean Brown, and I was like, what is this all about? And they said, oh, well, that's like Dean's old amp before he got his new one. That was like the first one that we sent him, but then, you know, he gave it back when he got his new one. And so that amp right now is actually on stage. It's like in the room right now and lives in my trailer, and we use it live. And I had heard about him through a good friend of mine named Bobby Sparks. He's a keyboard player for Marcus Miller and Roy Hargrove and all sorts of people. And Dean and Bobby and Dennis Chambers had a trio that went on tour. And that was the first time that I really heard Dean, was Bobby playing me these trio gigs from Germany or wherever, because I had to learn the tunes for a gig that I was doing with Bobby, and I was just like blown away by his playing, you know. And then about a year and a half after this amp thing, we were in the airport in Cork, Ireland for the Guinness Jazz Fest, and we were in customs, and he was standing right in front of us, and I was kind of geeked out, along with a few of the other guys in the band. And then he turned around and was just like, hey man, Snarky Puppy. And he was the nicest guy. I mean, I was shocked that he'd even heard of us. And he was the nicest dude, and we ended up like hanging out in the airport. And there was actually this lounge singer that the Jazz Fest had hired to sing in the terminal of the airport. So we like stood there and watched this guy croon Sinatra classics as the background to our conversation when we arrived in Cork. It was really cool. But ever since then, you know, I mean, he's a monster musician. He's one of the nicest guys on earth, and, you know, I mean, it's no wonder that he's super successful